Do you ever find that you're in this kind of what if pattern, always trying to see and find your harvest when really maybe you just need to be planting seeds? Hi, I'm Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, and today as we're talking about networking and this dynamic of collaboration in my newest book, Key Steps to Live a Happier and Healthier Life, Part 3, Interpersonal Effectiveness, we look at how to interact with others and how do we maximize on those networking situations. And today I want to explore and kind of dive in to this idea of the seasons in life for our own personal life, but also the seasons that we are in as we are in a spring season. And we are starting to build and create our gardens for those who do that, proverbially or literally. And so what we want to do is understand that spring is a time of planting. It's a time of faith. It's a time of being present for what you have and kind of living off the final harvest of last year. And although there are some things that we can harvest in the spring, most of what we're doing is preparing our soil for the harvest in late summer and fall. And we do this in life a lot. We sit there and want these outcomes to happen. We want the harvest all the time. And we forget about and we let go of where our intention is in the here and now. It's true, bud. We definitely let go of what our intentions are in the here and now. And so as we're planting seeds in life, we start to find the what ifs, right? What if this doesn't work? What if none of them germinate? What if birds come in and eat all of it? And we get stuck in these patterns of what ifs, and we lose fact of the purpose of the season, which is not to understand how much crop we will have. It's to rely on what we know in our past experiences and have the faith to be present, to be able to plant those seeds. And if all the seeds germinate and create a bountiful harvest, if none of them do, or most likely some do somewhere in the shades of gray, it will be okay. It will feed us. It will provide for us exactly what it needs to. And so as we're looking in our networking opportunities, as we are maximizing on group dynamics, I want you to look at your team and think, what seeds do I need to plant? What are the things that I need out of this team that isn't necessarily going to come today or in this meeting, but that I understand that this team is here for the long haul and that we have a lot that we can cover and that we will uncover. And so what seeds do I want? What intentions do I want to act on now so that I am building and nurturing something greater down the road? And so as we look at these anxious speculations into more productive scenario planning with colleagues, what we see is that we take time to be present in ourselves in the here and now. We set the intentions of what we want, and then we act. We go through processes. We don't go through outcomes. We cannot control those outcomes. We can only control what is in the here and now. So in order to harness that spring energy of renewal and reset our negative team perception patterns, we choose to stay in the here and now. And yesterday we talked about precognition, which was all about harnessing our own intuitive power by building a space for the here and now for what our intention is. And so look at your team, look at your networking, look at whatever it is. If you are trying to date, dating is networking. If you're trying to get a job, interviewing is networking. If you are a leader or an entrepreneur and trying to build your team or to achieve some project outcome, it's all networking. It's interacting with people for a purpose of gaining a collaborative outcome together. That is what networking is. And when we can be very clear on what we want and what we're trying to achieve, and we remove the what ifs of, well, if I do this, then this will happen. If I do that, then this will happen. We remove those outcome focuses and we just focus on the processes. Well, I saved up 200 seeds in my seed bank, and I can plant 175 of them. That would be 3/4, 75% of my seed bank. Don't quote me on the math there. And then that will leave 25 for next year. So no matter what, if this year is a bust, I know that I have 25% to germinate for next year. And I can change. And that's the beauty of life is just a giant science experiment. So instead of trying to create all these postulates beforehand, just live life. Find your data points. Know what worked and what didn't work. If you're truly that concerned because you've never sowed a seed in your life, then try different avenues. Try one, putting it in a baggie with a paper towel, putting it on top of the fridge. Another, try getting those little seed things, and you get a seed mat and put it by a window and see what happens. Try directly sowing in the ground. So there's a lot of ways that you do the same thing in just little tiny different ways, and you collect data. Well, what worked? Well, when I put it in the Ziploc bag, only one took, so that's like a very low germination rate. When I put it in the window and on the seed mat, like almost all of them came. It was almost too much. Like as I tried to break up, the little tiny new stems and the new leaves, and those first leaves that come on, and trying to break them up into bigger pots, I found that I was kind of doing more harm than good. And so now I know I need to wait until they're a little bit bigger. And even though they're kind of crammed in that spot, that if they have a little bit of a root structure, maybe 2 true leaves instead of those, first kind of coming leaves that are getting and saturating and allowing that plant to grow, I find that that's better. Sowing in the ground, I realized that although it was really warm and beautiful day and I was really excited, that the cold still came in. And so even though it needs to sow, I don't think I have the climate to be able to sow in that manner. And so what we're doing is we're applying that to the people we're interacting with and the intentions that we want to achieve with those people. So in the dating world, if what you're wanting is marriage and you seem to find that every person you talk to is just trying to have fun in the here and now, then we want to change that scope. So if we are on the apps, we want to say, okay, my intention is to be married and I want somebody who is mature enough and ready to get married. What environment do I want to meet somebody in? How do I want to engage in that? How do I want to create a space of conversation that naturally unfolds this idea of commitment and purpose amongst 2 individuals? And so we don't want to just get out there and say, well, I'm trying to get married, let's go. That scares people. Instead, we're curating and being curious about what environment that would look like. And so we try things. We try going to a library and seeing are there available people there. We try, going to a more sophisticated kind of after work bar. So somebody who has like a career and a thoughtful approach and has a routine of kind of unwinding quietly by themselves, not necessarily in a loud bar where it's kind of meant to be a more hookup culture. You really can't have a conversation with somebody and connect with them. We put ourselves out there and we join clubs and hobbies that we like, and we try to be more present with that. So we find ways in which, well, what would I want to do when I'm married? Do I want to be like a quiet little, introverted couple who lives on a farm and we just have a lot of kids to raise the farm, and I'm going to be a cityite, and I want to stay an urbanite and be able to be kind of in the mix of things, and I just want my partner to kind of travel the world with, and everything in between. In my book, how do we now master and complete that inner game? We are grounded in an emotionally action-oriented state. We're pulling on our leadership skills. We're finding all of our awareness. And now we're building social intelligence. And that social intelligence will directly connect back to emotional awareness. Because we need to know where we are on our side of the street, but we need to know what other people are doing. Because remember, they're going to be reactionary as well. And so how do we ground and find that neutral place? Go back to those videos of the power of neutral. Or go to my articles. I have a lot of blogs, and I go through and share all of these things. And as we find that power of neutral, I want you to see where your presence is, what your purpose and intention is, and live thoughtfully through that space. I'm Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions. Please feel free to schedule a 15-minute free wellness insight to see how I can support you on your goals of living a happier, healthier, more purpose-driven life. Thanks for watching. Today's insights helped you to reflect more on insights on how to live more intentionally in your relationships or in your professional or personal growth. Please give this video a like and thumbs up and share it with others who could also use the insight and support. Each week, I dive into these real strategies that are coming out of my book, Key Steps to Live a Happier and Healthier Life, Part 3, Interpersonal Effectiveness. So please be sure to subscribe and to join us each week to learn more about how to create deeper, more meaningful connections, set healthier boundaries, and live a purpose-driven life. All of the principles I teach in my workbook. Your growth matters, so thank you for being here. Let's keep building a happier and healthier life together, one step at a time.